Hello, hello, it is the Trading Captain, and I'm currently sitting up $21.72. So it's a pretty good day today overall. I ended up taking 4 trades, had 3 winners and 1 smaller loser. This one was kind of a smaller winner too. I do want to talk about this one more in a moment because I was not very happy with how I did this trade, and this was ultimately what made me walk for the day. But let's go ahead and first talk about how the actual stocks moved today, because we had a huge amount of stocks that were just moving 100% like this. Pre-market, I noted that roughly 4 or 5 stocks were up over 100%, which is very unusual. So we are definitely still in the midst of a hot market. There's no question about that. But one thing that I did notice that I thought was concerning is we were seeing a lot of stocks that were doing this. I noted, I counted them, and at the time, we had about a 50-50 rate where stocks would pop up like this and just immediately sell off. So it did feel there was a higher risk reward kind of situation today where either you picked a stock and it had a huge move, or you picked a stock and it just immediately died. And that didn't really seem like much in between. And a lot of these stocks, yeah, like they were very impressive. And I just didn't expect a lot of these to move the way they did. SHPH was a very strange one as well. This looked very algorithmic in nature, the way it was moving. There was no news on it. And yeah, this thing ended up just selling all the way off. So I'm not really surprised that this didn't hold. I called out, I suspected it would likely roll over. Did end up doing that, so it's cool that I was at least right on that. But yeah, I didn't touch this one. So let's go ahead and talk about my actual trades for the day. So to start, SDST was the first one I touched here. And this one I took 2 trades on. The first one was on this pullback here. Just seemed like a very natural pullback, was at support. And we saw reduced volume at the time. Ended up catching this for a quick little bounce. And this second one here was actually very interesting to me. So I ended up buying into this pullback here during this breakdown here to around 430s, 420s, somewhere in that area. And what I thought was really interesting was that I identified up here, there was a hidden seller, or what appeared to be a hidden seller around the 470s, 480s level. And you can even see, right, it attempted to bounce here and it hit this wall and it tried it again here before finally failing. And I ruled this as, okay, actually I want to just scroll this here so you can see the volume better. It looked like the volume was relatively lower in this area compared to the volume on this surge up. And I read this as bullish, so I was thinking, okay, there's a hidden seller here currently at around 470, 480. If I wait for a cleaner breakdown to here at this support, this seems more logical to me. And we did get that on lower volume, so I figured, okay, this is worth taking a try. But that hidden seller was still there. I could have sold for profit, a little bit of profit up here, but I ultimately didn't, and it ended up rolling over. And I did sell during this last bounce here to get a smaller loss. Realistically, I should have cut the trade. This should have just been a regular full-size loss, but instead I did manage to reduce it because I held, but I'm not very happy with how I did this. I feel like just fundamentally it would have been safer just to cut it. Now, there isn't much more risk because this thing gave the entire move back. The odds that it goes below the previous day are much lower. So a bounce here was still rational, but it was starting to become less justified. Less justified so than just cutting the trade whenever I saw the hidden seller was likely still there. So that's one critique I have for that. Go ahead and move to ASBP. This was one, again, like I said, about 50% of stocks were just popping and dropping. This was just an overreaction. This thing ended up dropping straight down here to 220s. And this was on low volume too. It's high volume overall for the candle, but this drop was very, very low volume, and there didn't seem to be a lot of selling pressure behind it. So I did manage to get most of this bounce back. So nice little base hit there. And the last one was FRSX. And again, I didn't really like how I did this trade either. So I called this out that I was really looking for around the low 180s for an entry. Did go to about 182. Yeah, 182 is where it went to. And I didn't call it specifically, but in my mind, I was articulating 182, 184. That's really where I was looking. But I ended up buying at 189. And this might seem like a small thing, but to me, a 5 to 7 cent discrepancy on a stock that's less than $2, whenever I'm mentally thinking something, is a big issue. To me, if I am saying, or not even saying, but if I'm mentally saying to myself, I'm going to buy at 182 to 184, and then I buy at 189, that's a problem. And on top of that, this wasn't the cleanest setup either, because this was higher volume on this push down. So I rated this one a bit lower, and I'm not really happy with how I did it. And even though I didn't say it on stream, in my head, I was basically walking away at this point. I didn't really want to take any more trades after seeing that my mental price entry was not matching my execution price entry. So that's one more thing I just wanted to point out. I'm still happy with how I did on the day. Really nice result, making a little making a little over 20 bucks. Love to see that. Hoping to repeat this going into tomorrow. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up my recap. If you like what you saw here, please do leave a like. Helps me out. And I will be back tomorrow. Take care, everybody.